When I complain to my husband about writer's block, I complain about it pretty much every day. And he always says, you just said that yesterday, and you wrote 5 poems today, get over yourself. So I think it depends for everybody. For me, I just constantly force myself to write. So even if I don't feel like it, I've got to write at least something today and build that habit. And then it will come naturally. I've always liked to travel since the first time my parents forced me to go to England, and that didn't seem like it'd be fun, but it was. And so I think it's more for the sake of travel, but I know poems will come out from it. If I try too hard to think about writing about it, which I totally did, I went to Italy, and I was like, this is gonna be great. I'm gonna write so many poems, and I maybe wrote like 2 poems about the trip. So it's really just experience brings poems. And some of my best poems come from experiences I wouldn't have thought were good. It's just like growing up with my family. Family is like the best thing to mind for poems. But travel is a great thing to do as well for ideas, just whatever you can experience. I think it does. I think it's a great insight. I think personifying things gives it kind of a distance, but it also gives an intimacy. So like when I was personifying Beijing, I felt like I could create this new character, and that gave me a lot of liberty, but it also gave me an intimacy, because then I could interact directly with that. So I definitely think that personification can be a really cool tool for that. Seems like if you sell your soul, it'd be pretty easy to do. There's a lot of competition. I do have a friend that's doing screenwriting, and he started with just like a lot of creative writing courses and got into that. I think it's with any other form of writing, you've really got to be an advocate for it. The only way I've gotten to get my name out for like the writing that I do is I just meet people, tell them what I'm doing, go to a lot of conferences, build those connections and use them. I think it's the same thing for screenwriting, probably even more so, because then you have to get with a lot more diverse of fields. For me, I'm mostly meeting writers, but you'd meet writers and people that are doing screenwriting and producers and stuff. So best of luck, man. Well, for any of you that are interested in self-publishing, there's an organization right here in Maryland, Maryland Writers Association, which does a lot of stuff with self-publishing, a lot of business things, but self-publishing, they have fantastic resources for that. So any of you check that out. One that I recently stumbled upon poet Joy Harjo. Does anybody know his? Okay, yeah. Yeah. Well, she's a fantastic Native American poet, and she wrote a poem called "A Poem for My," like this morning I pray for my enemies, and just I think what I love about that poem is it's got she's dealing with such bitterness and such hard feelings, yet she still is showing love. I think the last line is something like, the most dangerous thing that can happen to them is for an enemy to become a friend. So she has such a spirit of forgiveness, and I think it's hard to write a poem like that without it sounding sentimental, but she does it so well. She crafts such a beautiful, thought-provoking poem with such a spirit of moving forward and does it so well. But really, having any sort of creative writing degree tells whoever you work for that you can think freely, you can think creatively, you can pretty much do any task that's given to you. In all my jobs, that has been an asset that I'm good at creative writing. And I've worked as a researcher and in a neuroscience field and a linguistic field. And the fact that I could write creatively was helpful for reports, but also for task designs. We would do a lot of like scientific study tasks, and they're like, you can write, you can do this. And so everywhere I've been, somebody's found something good for writing. So I think it depends on how you sell it. You have to be confident about it. If that's something you love to do, be proud of it. The market's horrible for pretty much any job these days, so you better find what you like and stick by it adamantly. I love writing, so I've stuck by it and made it work.